This is part 2 of making a gear for the Celtic. To be able to cut imperial threads, I need to install here a 120 tooth gear and double the 127 tooth gear that I have right here, but I don't have the 120. In part 1 I made this thing that is of course my future gear out of 2 parts because I don't have the right material, the right thickness. So 2 parts it will be. And I also made this little arbor to be able to hold the thing in the chuck that I will install right here on the dividing head, of course on the milling machine. And here again we see the big advantage to make this chuck adjustable, to have it adjustable. My little shaft here is now running center with the dividing head, and I also installed it center with the spindle of the milling machine. So now I will have very easy to offset to drill holes. And yes, I'm gonna drill holes and bolt these things together, because in this kind of material there's a lot of stresses. And the easiest way to fix them together will be, of course, to weld them, drill holes and then fill them with weld and hold them together. But I think it's gonna bow, or it's gonna rub, or it's gonna make some horrible things. So, bolts it will be. I have some cute little 4mm bolts here, and that's what I will use. I will install 4 bolts here to hold the center together, and then I think 8 if I have enough to do the perimeter. Let's do this. I'm not a big fan of tapping these things under power, especially this one, because when the tap reaches the between 2 plates here, it feels really weird. Now on a machine like this there is not much feel, but still a little bit. But when I tap on the power, this of course absolutely no feel. So I will start the tap in every hole and then after do it by hand. And of course, to do it by hand there is also another small problem, because if I put my tap wrench on here, it's touching these bolts. So first I have to cut these bolts before I can tap by hand what I'm doing now on the machine. Right, let's drill these other holes here. Maybe you're wondering why, and that's a good question, why I located first 4 holes at 90 degrees and then the other 4 holes at 45, 90, you see what I mean. So first I did 4 holes and then I did the other 4. And that is of course because of the locating pin that we can find right here. Now this is a magnificent view on the underside of the dividing head, and this is of course part of the mounting table of the milling machine and the little crank. Now what I do, I put this little pin engaged and then I start spinning, and automatically, as you can see, it will locate, and then pull it out, turn 90 degrees, release it again, and it will fall in. Really handy. But on this dividing head there are locating holes every 30 degrees and also every 90 degrees, not 45. So in total I could drill 8 holes using the locating pin, and for the 4 others I had to climb below here to watch the dial. That's all. All the holes are drilled and pre-tapped, if that even exists. So I think I'm ready to separate these 2 plates, and the top plate now I can drill to, of course, let the little bolts through without thread, and finish the tapping working things on the other one. To avoid breaking taps, most of the time I tap by hand, more feel. With as a result that the first hole I tap here, I break my tap. I just finished tapping all the other holes, except of course this one with the piece of tap still in it. And I will try to get it out with this thing, but I don't believe in it. But you never know. That doesn't sound good. Right. I will try to drill it out with this 3mm carbide little end mill. Nothing. This thing doesn't bite. Okay, second try with another one. More speed. Nope. Okay, try number 3. This is a 3mm carbide end mill, just like the 2 others. And if you don't believe me, that's his box. Oh. It is a bit scary. I think I've got it. Success! I managed to drill it all out and tap again, because of course I have another set of taps. And as we can see now, this little bolt here works. It's just that my cute little end mill here didn't survive. But I always say you can make omelette without breaking eggs, so that's okay. Right, let's do the other one. Clear the holes for the thread, of course. Some people use this kind of bolts to do some car tuning, but I use them to do gear tuning. Right, let's cut off these corners here. I wanted to cut off a little bit more, this line here, but my spine wasn't really happy with the angle grinder treatment I gave it. So the lathe will do it for me. And here again we see the big advantage of having the chuck adjustable. When I installed my little shaft here, it was almost center, but not perfect. So indicator, loosen the bolts, tap tap tap, running perfectly through, tight again, check, and now ready to cut. I installed my little boring bar here because with a normal cutting tool there's not enough reach. I have to be very careful because of my workpiece is gonna touch the table here. That's maybe not a good idea. But with the boring bar it seems to work. And just to be sure, I'm gonna feed the other way around. That will work just fine. Right, let's bring it to a diameter of 183 millimeter. I don't have any measuring thing big enough. The only way to measure is take out this center bolt here. And then with my blue fin I'm pretty sure it looks professional. Right, and a little bit more. And this should be it. One 183 and 2 microns, but that's okay. Right, let's see if we can clean up this face a little bit here. And here's the result. And of course the other side too. Now I have to hold my thumb here or my finger on this spot, then it looks perfect. Because of course here's a little bit of this red paint left, but now it isn't. Okay, what I would like to do, of course, is to make this gear here on the shaper. But as you can see, there's not enough clearance. And that's why I will do it here on the milling machine. There's just one little problem. I don't have a gear cutter for it. But I do have a cutter that normally I use on the shaper. And if I make some kind of fly cut idea system with this one, for example, out of this piece, it could work. The idea is to make it look a little bit like a typical fly cutter. So the tool comes here and here I will make the shank a little bit smaller, and the diameter will have the same as my biggest collet for the milling machine. Let's do this. One millimeter oversize. I will give it a little touch of finishing tool. Perfect. I think this will work just fine. All I have to do is to cut a slot in here and install two bolts to, of course, hold my cutting tool. And the easiest way should be, of course, to install it here in my dividing head and then mill the slot in it. But because my machine is already in horizontal mode and I don't want to change it, the shaper to the rescue. In a setup that I think you don't see every day. Now I have here some packing material in here to compensate, because of this part will be in one side of the vise, right? And that little V-block. This machine doesn't like grooving, so it's gonna be hot. And here it is. And of course I also already drilled and tapped the hole to receive the little bolt. And I made this slot to receive this 10 by 10 high-speed steel. And as you can see, if I loosen the bolt a bit, the thing fits, no problem. And then of course I want to try my tool, and I see that it's fallen on the ground. Okay, I'm back. And I see that, what side was it now? It is a very loose fit and it's sitting deeper in the slot. And then I check what is marked on it, and this one is not 10 millimeters square. It's a 3/8. But whatever. Now I can put whatever tool I want in here, 10 millimeter or 3/8. I'm sure it will work. what's left to do now is to cut 120 teeth here in this thing. But first, I received a new sticker this week from Neil in the UK, from the YouTube channel Machining and Microwaves, a channel I like really much. Now, the fun trick is that while I'm watching Neil's videos and he talks about antennas and all the other things, I don't understand a thing what he's talking about. But the way he brings it, the way he explains things is really riveting. Checking out. Of course, as always, link in description. I'm all set up and ready to start cutting. And I installed, I check on my cheating paper here, I installed the 27 hole plate on the dividing head, and every tooth I need to cut and then move 9 holes. And to figure that out, of course, I went on the internet gear calculator to have the dimensions of my gear, and also dividing head calculator. You don't have to do a thing. Internet will give you all information needed. No need to think. To start, I will take it really slowly. A slow feed and a depth of cut of 0.5 millimeter. Perfectly fine. Same speed, same feed, but depth of cut now of 1 millimeter. It seems to work. I will bring you back when I'm a little bit further. I changed the setup a bit. Now I'm using official module 1.5 cutter, but for very small gears. So I don't cut to full depth. First I cut as deep as possible, and then I will finish it with the other tool, because the other tool makes a lot of chatter. And as you can see, I'm also using oil, and because it's spattering everywhere, I had to improvise some guards made of old computer parts. Now, improvising is maybe not the first time it happens here, but it seems to work, so let's continue. And again, just like last week, I don't have the time to finish it before this video has to come out. So I will finish it off camera, and then if everything goes well, of course, you will see it in action in next week's video, if it works.